First, we're going to start with the player of the month. I've got a couple nominations here. I think that there's some fantastic options, but I want to open it up to the floor. How about Bud Elliott? Why don't you go ahead and get us started?
All right, so I was filtering some stuff here, trying to take out garbage time, really looking for the guys who are the most, clutch, if you want to say, or the dudes who are not just padding their stats in garbage time. And I'm going to start with a guy who didn't even play all of his team snaps this month. But I was looking at the top rushing EPA, so expected points added measures. And damn it, you know who is the leader in the month of October for rushing EPA?
Chase Brown.
It's Caleb Williams. How nutty is that, right? Like, so I already knew his throwing stats were quite nice. Guys, Caleb Williams just absolutely huge runs when Oklahoma absolutely needed it. 4th and 1 against Texas, boom, 66 yards. Again against Texas, goes for 40. Honestly, he bailed them out a ton on 3rd down against Kansas, a team that the Sooners kind of sleptwalked through. We just cut a separate video last Tuesday on how badly Oklahoma was banged up. They're missing 4 of their top 5 defensive backs. He's come in and really carried them. His legs were also pretty instrumental in beating TCU. For me, he's my player of the month. If they had Rattler, honestly, Oklahoma could be a 2-loss team at this point.
He was definitely one of my nominees for sure. I mean, he saved their season for the most part because they'd be doomed if they still had Spencer Rattler. Another nominee I have is one of his teammates, Kennedy Brooks. In the month of October, he rushed for 540 yards, averaged 6.43 yards per, and had 6 touchdowns, including the game-winning walk-off against Texas. And I also, Chip, you brought him up. I also want to nominate, while we're in the running back category, Chase Brown of Illinois, who rushed for 515 yards, averaged 7.69 yards per, including 5.72 yards post-contact per rush. So he was getting hit and breaking tackles and then still picking up another 6 yards every single carry. Should I just go through my entire list, or?
Sure. Go for it. I've got Chase Brown as well. I mean, in terms of rushing yards per game, no one is better than Chase Brown in the month of October. 171.67 yards per game in the 3 games that the Illini have played. I also have him on my list, but keep rolling.
All right. I got CJ Stroud, who in October for Ohio State threw for 1,002 yards, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions. Receiving wise, a name that most people don't know, and I don't blame them, but this guy absolutely killed everybody else in
West Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jareth Stearns. All right. He had 60 catches for 717 yards and 6 touchdowns. Just for some context, Stearns had 60 receptions. No other player in the country during October had more than 40 receptions. He had 717 yards receiving. No other player in the country in October had more than 556 yards. He was heads and shoulders above every single receiver in the country. And on the defensive side of the ball, Alabama's Will Anderson, 6.5 sacks, 24 pressures. And Michigan defensive back DJ Turner targeted 10 times, allowed 3 catches for 8 yards, had an interception.
I like the way you spread it out. Will Anderson, I also wanted to make sure to mention, like you said, leads the nation in sacks in the month of October. Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati. We talk a lot about Sauce Gardner. He's going to be the guy who's going to get all the first-round NFL draft hype, but Bryant has been awesome. He has 2 interceptions in 4 games this month, 8 passes defended, 2nd in the nation in passes defended per game. Chase Brown. Yeah, the CJ Stroud is kind of stupid. I think when Bud started talking about garbage time, I was like, oh, crap, there goes my CJ Stroud nomination. Because
he's the reason they're going to garbage time.
Yeah.
He's not throwing in garbage time. He's throwing knockout punches in the first half, man.
14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 4 games, as Tom mentioned, at 73.8% passing. Absolutely banana stuff. So I wanted to get CJ Stroud out there with an official nomination. Chase Brown. David Bell doesn't have the whole well-rounded argument, but I mean, that Iowa performance at least deserves a mention if we're going to be discussing everything that happened in the month of October. He also went for 100 the game before that, but Wisconsin kept him in check. So, I've got CJ Stroud's kind of like my leader. I can rock with a Chase Brown. I can rock with Caleb Williams. I think that's probably where the debate will come, but much love and shout outs to Will Anderson and Kobe Bryant as well.
Can I give two more?
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't realize we were going to go more than one per. Jakari Roberson for Wake Forest. They've been in three like tight-ish games so far this month. I believe he has 28 first downs or touchdowns in the month of October, which is pretty nuts. And that, like, everybody knows they're going to him, and he's still getting open. Remember, that team lost Donovan Green, their other best receiver in the preseason, so he's really been kind of the guy they're going to. And I want to give a shout out to Nakobe Dean. Like, his stats aren't insane, but that Georgia defense just plays so damn smart, and he's such a big part of that. And I had to pick somebody from a Georgia defense that was just that dominant this year and this month.
I had CJ Stroud, same like you guys. I also had Kenny Pickett, who's been getting a lot of love in the Heisman Trophy. Statistically, the stats aren't as obscene as some of the other guys at the top. Still 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the month, 2 road wins. And then the big win against Clemson was really kind of the, okay, now he's done it against Clemson. Like, what more you need to see? And clearly he's somebody who's getting a lot of attention on the national stage, rising up the Heisman rankings. I also had Xavier Hutchinson for Iowa State, who just had a big performance, but he's also been kind of a breakout receiver for Brock Purdy there at Iowa State. Of course, he had the one that was called back this week for the just stupid taunting penalty that was called back this past month as well.
So where are we landing? This is a group decision. I mean, the purpose.
So it depends on where you want to go, I think, because like we've all said, CJ Stroud, like he's up, but I do think there's a hesitation for me to award him in a month when the competition has not been stellar. That would be my one hesitation with crowning him as the player of the month. But I wouldn't push back that much if we all decided, hey, he's the guy.
I mean, I think there are a lot of players, obviously, who are deserving of consideration. We've named a bunch of them, but I think the first name we said is the player of the month. I think it's Caleb Williams. Yeah. I mean, just from the performance aspect, the narrative aspect, the podcast aspect of us being on Caleb Williams since the spring, I feel like how can he not be our player of the month for October?
Now you're
also
talking.
If he had played all the snaps.
Tom and I were, by the way. Tom and I were team Caleb Williams.
If he had played all the snaps, are we even debating this?
No.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what, Tom? Great point. These are the Cover 3 podcast awards. You know whose rules we bend to? No one but our own. Caleb Williams, congratulations. You are the Cover 3 player of the month for October.